Music is one of the few universal languages. The BPM, the mix, the lyrics, the feelings dictate how you react in any given moment. That takes a certain amount of attention to detail and the intention of communicating a feeling. And I'm excited that today's conversation is with a group of people who I feel have all of that in spades. Almost 3 years ago, I first interacted with Blind Records while I interviewed its founder, 7497, on my first video interview. It's been amazing to be a fan of them and see how they've progressed in their collaboration and their personal work. So I was very excited when they reached out to help commemorate their 3-year anniversary with this conversation. But before we get into this amazing conversation, I would love if you took a second to like and subscribe. If you are on podcast platforms, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave a review so you can stay tuned for all of these amazing conversations with these amazing creatives. So without further ado, I'm glad to introduce Blind Records Conversation. Only on Procrastination Radio Show. Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Procrastination Radio Show. I'm your host, Ian Complex. We are back with another amazing creative conversation, but this time this is a very special conversation with a group of creatives. We are here with the crew from Blind Records. We got Pazmal, Nimbus, D0tson, Briggs, AJ Blaze, 7497. Shout out to Kasey Veaux, couldn't be here today, but guys, how is everything? How are y'all doing?
Fucking good, man. It was good.
Doing great, man.
Yeah. Yo, just a note, Pazmal is not here. He was sick, so he's sitting out on this one.
There's so much, I think, there's so much history, specifically with you, 7497, and this show. I know that it's a big deal for the 3-year anniversary of Blind Records, but this is also the 3-year anniversary of the first video episode of the Procrastination Radio Show, which was you, and also the first video set. So every time you come along on the show, is some history being made. So I appreciate you and excited to jump into this conversation. 3 years is a long time for like any relationship. So I'm wondering for y'all, like how does it feel for that to be the reality of y'all have been collaborating in this way for 3 years?
Dude, it feels, I don't know, it feels like it's been longer than 3 years. Man, we've been doing this for a while. I mean, it started with a core group of us, which was me, AJ, D0tson, and Kasey, and Paz. And then we added Nimbus and Briggs later on as producers and DJs as well. But it's been challenging, man. But I think we've done pretty good at holding our own and like creating a new sound and bringing a new space, like a creative space for artists. And I don't know, it's been fun, man.
Yeah, it's been cool to see again, just kind of being someone who was like lucky enough to be along for part of that journey and kind of seeing from behind the scenes, I'd be in the cut, but seeing everything come together and seeing players be introduced. And I kind of want to direct this to AJ and D0tson. Like, what were you doing 3 years ago at this time? I guess how has being a part of Blind Records impacted that?
For me, I'll say it actually ties in D0tson. The first time I met D0tson was one of the first times I even linked up with Sway, pretty much 3 years ago. And there was no Blind at that point. But yeah, that's kind of where I was. I had a radio show at Jolt at the time. And I just got a good vibe from Sway the first time I ever met him. But we only met for like 5 minutes, and then I hit him up to come to the radio show as a guest. And then he brought D0tson. And then pretty much from that point, like, it was kind of easy. Like, everything flowed because we just kind of connected, like, on a deeper level just through how we were and, like, conversations we had. So, yeah, that's where we were 3 years ago. D0tson's a part of that.
So pretty much like 3 years ago, Blind wasn't really the thing yet. Yeah. And, but I knew Sway from just like seeing him around in the scene. Before the world like shut down, I think that's when I met Sway. Then the world shut down. Then me and Sway was like on some internet shit. See each other on like Instagram and like, you know what I'm saying, just like support each other like that. And then we just had a day. It was like, let's just all be Blind. I met AJ, everybody who you see now. It's like from the jump.
Yeah, it's crazy also because I think just being able to listen to each individual person's sound, they're very different in like the approach. I feel like the technicality of like where you're all coming from is very different, and I wonder inside of that, has that caused any challenges? And this is for anybody. Like, have there been maybe like a clash of sounds when you tried to collab, or like a difference in maybe appreciation for a different sound? You kind of like, what do those conversations look like when you kind of have to kind of squabble a little bit about that?
I think they should answer this because I feel like they both kind of came in, like not, just as like new ears. We were already doing it for like 2 years before they came along, and I think mostly with Briggs, when he came around, it was like he never really got into, like the dance side of music like that.
Right.
And being able to collab with him was really interesting and fun because, it was just a fresh set of ears, and there was no like bias to like what we could do. Like it was like there was no like he didn't really have an understanding or like a structure for it. So, I mean, he'll tell you like the times we sat down and just cooked up, and it's just been fun because he just doesn't know what it's supposed to sound like. So it brings out something in me, and it helps me kind of figure out the structure of how I want things to sound like better, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he'll just come in with all the knowledge he has on his side of production, and he'll put me onto shit. And I think it's been a great balance with that. And then same with Nimbus. He kind of just came along with like this really unique taste of music, and he kind of like, I feel like he made it fun again for me, at least, to like DJ and shit, because he already knew how to DJ, but I think hanging around us a lot he was really like, on it, like practicing every day, sending me mixes to listen to and shit. And eventually I was just like, dude, like you've gotten really good. And it was fun for me to see him grow that fast because it was like, dude, I think you can like rip. And ever since then, we just kind of decided to just throw him on. And he started off doing the sweat party with us, which, we're still kind of in the midst of like figuring out how to bring it back. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they want to talk or say anything, but
I would love to hear, especially because like you were saying, like this is a different entry level or a different approach to the creative space. So was it the approach of like, I want to DJ as a producer, or I want to produce as a DJ? Like, what was that specific?
I think for me it was more or less like I've always been into production, and I've always wanted to like chop up samples, and I've never gotten to actually do it. And being around these guys, like they're all pretty much like my brothers and also like my teachers. They put me on to like how to use certain things in Ableton. AJ pretty much, I feel like, broke the glass ceiling for me in terms of me understanding like the fundamentals of DJing and like actually understanding and like applying these things that he's teaching me, and even like noticing my mistakes and like fixing them. And like over time, I pretty much just like learn how to just tap into like what I fuck with, and even like when we create together in terms of like creating sounds, like new sounds, I'm very open minded. We pretty much come to like an agreement, like, you fuck with this sound? Yeah, you don't? Nah, why? And then we pretty much try to explain as much as we can, like, this is why. Maybe this may sound better, and then we'll attempt to correct the problem, and if it sounds better, it sounds better. If it doesn't, then we kind of just like, all right, on to the next. Like,
that's real. I like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if you want to say anything.
Oh yeah, man. Like producing dance music has been such an experience for me because meeting Sway, I've been super open minded. I'm kind of like a little kid, like finger painting, and like I have that openness, and I'm always willing to try some new shit. And if it doesn't work out, like I don't let that my resilience is super up always. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of being a creative. It's like you have to have those shitty ideas so you can get to the goal.
Yeah.
And you get what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I like just like the practice of it. It really is just that. Like you go through the motions, you get in front of the computer, you have that blank canvas, and you hate it at first, and then eventually, like you never know, you can get some gold. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
No, that's real. I want to jump in again to kind of ask everybody, because I think re-listening to Horny Hours Volume 1 today, like in preparation for this interview, was just like it just felt so like y'all went crazy on that, and I don't think I personally have appreciated y'all enough for that. But that is another instance of, I think, the melding of all of the mental and those physical ideas that you're having. I wonder, for something like that, is there a lot that didn't make the final product because of the constant collaboration? And what is that kind of critical component that is like, this goes and this doesn't? I know you guys say like you have those moments where you have to be honest, but like what is the things that stay on the cutting room floor?
Well, I think so. Usually, when we come up with these ideas to make these records or these compilations, I like to make them fun, but I also want it to be structured and where, because we're all into different types of sounds from the dance genre, you know, like he's heavy on the Jersey, like the club shit. You know, he still has new ears, but we've been going back and forth about a lot of like UK garage stuff. And that's always been my lane since I've got into it.
Yeah.
But then I also like to link with AJ, because AJ is like kind of OG in this shit, and he'll school me on some shit where I'm just like, damn, that shit sounds too good. And then me and AJ will bounce off ideas like crazy, because I think we're so like perfectionist, but he's more willing to like go the next step further to find that sound to make it swing a certain way. And then D0tson, you know, he's big with like the footwork sound. So I think my idea with like compilations like that is just to all tie it in together and like just showcase that, you know, we're kind of like, we have a wide range, you know. There's a lot of stuff that gets cut. There's a lot of stuff that we'll hear and we'll just be like, that could be better, or maybe it just doesn't really fit the theme. Like Horny Hours was just something that I came up out of the blue. I was just like, yo, we should make a Valentine's Day compilation. And my idea from that was like Joey Badass sex tape, like that era of like hip hop shit. And I remember it being so fire, because it was like, yo, like this shit's strictly about just like love. So with Horny Hours, my idea was just to come up with the horniest edits of like music, you know what I'm saying? Like some sexy shit where it's just like, it's just horny as fuck. Like they're just talking about horny shit, and add our flip to it and taste to it where we can just play it out to the club. I think, at least for me, my goal with that compilation was to showcase that, you know, we can make records that hit in the club too. Because I think as creatives, all of us, I think, can agree with this, is like we have a hard time like making shit that we can bump or like play in our sets. At least for me, I'll speak for myself. I make a lot of like experimental things, and you know, things that I turn into albums or projects doesn't necessarily make it to to a DJ set, because it's so like what's the word? It's just so like, I don't know how to explain it, man. It's like very like, it's just not playable in the club, you know? Like you can't dance to it. It's just stuff that you listen to with headphones on, like when you're alone on your walks. So I think when we get together to do these records, my goal is always like, let's make some fun shit where we can play this out. And at least with me and AJ, that's always been a conversation that we've had of like, yo, like let's like get in that zone, you know? Like we want to make club tracks too, like, because we know how to do it. We just, I think we're all just focused on creating something new that it ends up turning into something totally different, and we can't play it out. I don't know. It just feels weird. At least for me, like I said, I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah.
But I don't know about these guys.
I feel like in the environments that I consume music, it's so like an extroverted area. Like I'm always hearing the bass in my face and all the time, all the time. And whenever I go to create, I take a more introspective take. Like I like to have the headphones on, and I like to make shit for people that also listen in the headphones. Like, and I think that at least in regards to like the Horny Hours thing, it was like getting out of my comfort zone and just like playing it. Like Nimbus was there, he was like, I was making that shit, and it was like super out loud. None of it was in the headphones, and I think there's some value there, you know. And yeah.
Sure, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts with all that because there's some interesting stuff about how all that came together. If you're trying to understand, like, was it like planned or not? In essence, I don't think it was super planned.
Yeah.
It is something that came up organically because we are DJing and we play edits. We like DJ out edits. Edits is like mostly what like the gold. If you can find a good edit, that's like gold on, let's say, SoundCloud. So we wanted to naturally, without even talking about it, we just wanted to be a part of it. I think that's where Sway was coming from. And then when we heard him say that with like a simple like group text, it's like, okay, bet. Like we all just do it. We didn't even really talk about it. But there was a little bit of a, like from an individual standpoint, myself, like there was a bit of a pressure, you know, because he kind of did set it in motion with a text, literally. And then like we were like, oh shit, but no one like stood down. Like everyone stepped up and submitted something, you know, and not everything made it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also not the easiest thing to do, by the way. It's really
I was about
hard
to ask.
It's really hard to get everybody to like come together. Even for things like this, you know, it's like sometimes someone can't make it, or like our homie Kasey, who's up in New York, it's like, you know, everyone has different schedules. So it's hard for us to like all sit down together and make shit. And some of us, like at least for me, I'm not the best at creating in groups because I feel like when I make shit, it's just very vulnerable to who I am and the things that I like, and that might not sit with everybody. And I'm the type of person where it's just like my idea is my idea, and I'm gonna just like make it regardless of if anyone else in the room likes it or not. And I don't like to like hear opinions sometimes when I'm making music because it's like it'll take away from the inspiration of just at least trying it. And if it sounds good, it sounds good. If not, not, you know. But bro, it's not the easiest to get everyone together to do that type of shit because it's 7 of us. And like I said, everyone has different schedules. Everyone has a job, so it's hard, you know, like to come up with these projects and like be able to deliver. When we did it, I was just like, damn, like it's dope that we finally all came together to drop this like work, you know? And it was dope. I think the reception was cool. I don't know. I think we're definitely from that project, I think now we're all a little bit more mature in our sounds. Like I think we all know what we could do better, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the next one's just gonna be even crazier.
Yeah. So when y'all do come together, what is the energy like outside of music? You know, like I got a little bit of it coming on the on the call, but I wonder like what is that kind of camaraderie like in that friendship?
I'll let all these guys answer.
These fools got jokes, bro. They got jokes. It's all jokes.
Imagine you're like at the bounce house at McDonald's with your homies.
Oh, sorry.
That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah.
We come together, we just have fun.
Dude, road trips are like legendary. Like we all come back with stories. Like it's crazy, bro. It's like when you watch shit on TV and you're like, yo, they're on tour. It's like same thing, but without like the extraordinary shit. Like it's just mad fun, dude. It's mad fun.
Quickly, I want to ask, what would everybody's like tour meal be? Y'all saying y'all be traveling together. Like, what would the specific choice from each one of y'all be? Well, if you could choose one meal,
we'll start with AJ and D0tson because I feel like
I mean, road trip meal. We gotta. If we're in Florida, we're going to Perkins, and I'll just leave it at that for breakfast. Actually, like a lunchtime, but we're eating breakfast because we slept in, and I'm just getting the craziest scramble I can find with extra gravy. That's me.
That's true.
I mean, for me, I'm pescatarian,
Word.
like vegan, so like anything in that field. But if not, I just like fast, bro. Like it's not that deep for me to eat just some random shit on the road.
Bro, full eat peanuts and be straight for the day.
I'm
Crazy.
Never.
I get back to the city.
Falafel.
True.
Oh yeah, falafel.
In New York.
Yeah, falafel with the pita bread. Yeah.
Yo, man, it made a pub sub. It's Chipotle. Straight up.
For
Tortillas.
real. Direct.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Like that.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody eats Chipotle.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah. Travel eats, I'm pretty chill, man. I'm down for anything these guys want to get.
Yeah.
I'm not really a picky eater, so like, I'm down for anything. Like,
Ooh, that burger spot in Orlando.
ooh, that burger spot. Damn, I gotta remember the name. Relish in Gainesville.
Fire.
Oh yeah. Shout out. Yeah, Gainesville has some spots. I was
Yeah,
surprised.
Gainesville.
Gainesville has some
Gainesville's
spots.
one, man.
And that diner out there. Whatever it's called.
Diner.
The diner made that.
Perkins, yeah, it was Perkins.
It was Perkins.
No. I'm talking about the rinky dink one in the plaza. The first time we went out there.
Yeah, I don't remember the
Yeah,
name.
that was a minute ago.
The general
I missed that
spot.
too.
Also, like, I'm wondering what is like the general consensus on facial hair as a group. I feel like everybody got a strong look, and I'm wondering if that's like a part of it. Like, you got to have your lane and kind of stick in.
Nah, that's not
Nah?
the
Okay.
plan, man.
That's how I
I just
got
wondering. I just
It's the initiation, yo. You gotta grow a full beard.
it. I was like,
I
I
heard
got it.
you. Heard you. Seeing how the culture in Florida, I think, is kind of opening their eyes to different perspectives on what sound is and what is danceable, what is enjoyable, has been really cool. And I wonder for y'all, if you could push one new sound or new thing that you've been thinking about, or like you were saying, something that might not go into the mix well, what would that be? And how would you approach kind of putting it out? Could start with AJ and D0tson.
I mean, I could take that like where my mind went, to be honest, not even like music specific, like the type of genre, but something that I even been talking to D0tson a little bit is like, I want at some point in the next couple of years to experiment with like darker rooms and less visuals and simplifying it to the senses of like more your ears and your body feeling, and maybe eliminate the light a little more. Maybe some clubs will be open to like letting us experiment on that side with them. I know it's not like, it's been done before, right? Like a dark club, but I really want to try it now with us at some point in the next couple of years.
Like that. That's cool.
I really want to see how like the jazz would be, jazz music sped up. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like that's like a dope concept to think about, and like I just want to see how it sits in the room and see how people consume it in a way, and then like just go crazy with like making it like a footwork or doing like a house vibe to it, but just experimenting with jazz music and like in the dance format would be. I want to see that. I want to see that go.
Yeah, that's real. Shot.
I was gonna say, for me, it'll probably be like creating like a new drum pattern or like a break that pretty much molds itself into its own genre, and then people take that and transcend it to whatever. Like, for instance, like Jersey Club has a certain kind of break that everybody uses, like that Baltimore club break. Same thing with like electro, all stems from like original like hip hop electro breaks. But that's pretty much like what I'm trying to crack the code at right now.
I think for me, I think one of my goals in general has always been the visual side of dance music. I feel like there's not a lot of visuals that represent the culture, at least the proper way, where it's like, I feel like when people like get the opportunity to make music videos or whatever, it's always like the same shit. I don't know. I feel like we need a better display of what dance music is, because I feel like it's also very skewed to like one crowd, I think I can speak for everyone in this chat. We all come from different neighborhoods, different places. And it's not, and they'll tell you like, our shit has always been like to not be like posh and like super clean. And like, I'm a big supporter of just like keeping things like rough and like rugged, because I feel like that represents us as people, and we want to make that like the face of dance music, because everybody in here, like I said, we didn't grow up in like, you know, like good neighborhoods, so to say, or like it's rare for all of us to be able to even sit here and like have a conversation with you about this shit, because the people that we grew up with, they probably would clown us to know that we're doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how skewed I feel like the dance like display is. And I've always been a big like I want to change that like really bad. And I think with music videos and just content in general, I think we're able to do that. I think the only thing that's stopping us is like finding the help, you know, someone willing to put in the time and work with us to like show that. But apart from that, man, I think sonically, I just want to keep pushing like super rare things like that don't really see the light of day here in Florida, at least. And not to like boxes into the Florida thing, but you know, we are where we're from, so I think here the sounds are very like everyone's on the same shit, and we've always been pushing the envelope when it comes to bringing a new sound, whether it's from the UK or like we're just inspired by everything, man. And I think we've always been like hard on like bringing something new every time, you know?
I think me, it's like leaning more into the sonic part of just being like, I like being the reinforcing creator as far as like the group is concerned, like that gel or that glue of like, all right, let's polish this up, let's make this cleaner. And I kind of just want to keep working at that. I feel like I'm going to continue to like lean into more of the introspective thing. Like I like listening to albums, like full albums front to back, you know? So I kind of want to continue to like, you know, learn from the DJing scene. Like it's very cultivated. It's very like, these guys are very, very precise. So I'm trying to get that middle ground of like making something that is like super clean, but it's also minimalist and like precise, where you could pick from it and like play it in people's sets and stuff.
I love all of those answers, and it kind of makes so much sense, like you were saying in this conversation, that even since that last project, there's so much more clarity. And I feel like for this 3rd anniversary, I kind of want to ask, what can the fans expect? What can the community expect from you all, and what can we like kind of look forward to like seeing and hearing from you?
I think right now we're definitely aiming to make way more music than we have in the past years. I think in this next year, we're just like the way I'm planning it. I just want to put out way more music. I definitely want to get back to doing parties, merch, things like that. And like I said, like the visual, being more, you know, being more like visualized, I guess, on the internet.
I had to find it, bro. I had to pull it out one time. You feel me?
Right. No, but for sure that I think another thing with us is like, you know, merch. We believe a lot in that. We think it's like that shit's timeless, man. Like that shit will last forever. If you really like love something or are a fan of something, like that's the type of shit like you never throw away. You know what I mean? So I think all those things is definitely something that we're looking to push out more this next year, and even, you know, this last quarter. I got a lot of stuff, you know, planned.
I mean, I want to say something here, because first, Sway is pretty active. Anyone, I mean, that's not a hard thing to say. Like, this guy puts out a lot of music, one way or another, whether it's, you know, Apple Music and Spotify or SoundCloud or Bandcamp, and all of us are really inspired by that. And our goal, you know, Sway's already doing it, but we're trying to put out more music. These are the conversations we're having, you know, between each other, not even with Sway. It's like, we want to put out music. And I know D0tson has stuff to say about this, but that's definitely a goal, like on a monthly basis between all of us, getting something out, and then getting the standard higher and higher. Because just on Horny tracks, I mean, that's just the very beginning. To us, that's the tip of the iceberg. The standards are just going to keep getting higher. And that just set the first benchmark. But even for this 3-year anniversary, I mean, you know, it's not really a leak, but there's gonna be some stuff dropping right around that date. So that'll be cool too. And but it needs, we all are pretty ambitious in the sense of putting out more music while doing it in a more high quality way every time, with the help of people like Briggs and Kasey, because it hasn't been said, but we see Briggs as an engineer. Same with Kasey. Those guys are more technically advanced than us on the sonic side of things, and we all just need to work together more and get better on that workflow.
Just to touch on something Zway said earlier about like having more tracks that's more playable, so we can like play like in sets. That's been my big thing from the first time I dropped the Brighter Days On and On. Just to have something that's if I'm making it, I gotta make this to play. I mean, it's like buying an outfit. You don't just buy an outfit just to have sit in the closet. I mean, so I really took that more seriously than a lot of people, but I just feel like that was my direction. It makes sense now. Every time I spin, I'll probably throw some shit on that I made, and it just go perfect with just the flow of the party. You know what I mean? So that's my thing.
Yeah, and I kind of want to jump on that and ask if y'all have thought of like ways the community can better support those efforts that you're making, because I know it's one thing to like a post on IG, it's another thing to show up and try to do that part as a community. And I think we've been kind of, speaking for the community, been doing a little better at kind of showing up for each other in those ways. But are there any other ways that you think people watching this or listening to this could support you all?
I mean, honestly, that's kind of like the tricky thing with this. It's like we're just grateful, man, for people to even support us this much. We've always been very kept our heads low, and just because we never wanted people to feel forced to listen to us or support us, we always wanted to create grow a really solid, organic support system, and I think so far we've been pretty good at it. I think the only thing that we're really missing is just access to venues, but I think that's definitely one big thing that we're missing as a component. It's just support from venues in the dance scene that specialize in just electronic and dance music. I feel like apart from that, there's not really anything else. I think we got a pretty solid foundation of people who come out and show love, and they're always trying to figure out what we're doing next. So I think other than that, nothing really. We're super grateful for the venues that have let us, do parties at their venues. Mainly Over Under being a big one for us. I think in the last year, I've grown to really appreciate and be more grateful for that space. Just because it's always they've always just been there for us, and they've always been open to any ideas we have. So I'm super grateful for that. But I think other than that, man, that's really it.
Yeah. And this is going to be the most, I think, serious question as we kind of wrap up, but I kind of want everybody to take a minute to think about it before they answer. If it was a life or death situation and you had to appoint one member from this crew to dance, who would be the best dancer?
Oh my God.
That's easy.
I know it.
It's easy. My fault.
That's an easy.
It's not me, but I know the answer.
Okay.
AJ.
I kind of want to go. Is AJ?
AJ. Surprisingly, I know you're probably
No. It's not me though.
You got weak knees, so you don't dance no more.
Bro, have you guys seen the footage I have of D0tson?
No,
D0tson,
I'm
D0tson does not dance easily, and he knows I was going to say this. He doesn't dance easily, but when he dances, bro, he's actually in control of his body, not you know what I mean?
Look, man, hey, yo. Look.
What I'm saying,
look, man, all you got to do is throw on some Bay Area type rap shit. AJ's the guy to go to. Man.
Start popping with the collar. Okay, already, yeah. Okay, that was it. Yeah, you didn't have to say nothing. You told all yourself. It's cool.
Digging.
Now I know.
I know, man. Trust.
That's very funny, but nah,
That's
I
cool.
appreciate y'all so much. I'm excited for the people to hear this conversation. I'm excited for people to do their homework, dig deeper into each of your individual catalogs, and to dig into the catalogs as a unit. Because again, I think it's some of the most impressive stuff that I've honestly listened to in a long time. I think again, being somebody who wasn't familiar with a lot of the dance music scene, being in my R&B bag, the most I was doing was New Jack Swing a couple years ago. So coming into here, and being exposed to all this and just slowly becoming fans of all of your stuff has been really, really amazing. And I want to give y'all that shout out ahead of the 3 anniversary. And again, said thank you for coming on here.
Hell yeah. Just wanted to add to that. I mean,
yeah,
you've been a big part, at least for me, starting out in this shit and really I guess pointing me out from the crowd and showing me love. You're definitely one of the first people to show me support. And as far as platforms go, you're definitely probably the first and probably the only person who's taken the time to really get to know the creative side of what I do and what we do now. And I've always been super grateful for you. I always tell you that shit, but I think that's very important to the story, because without that, I feel like it wouldn't have motivated me to sometimes I'll watch our old interview and I'm like, damn, that shit was kind of cringe. I should have answered this shit a different way. And I think the fact that you have a platform to where we can come on and just talk about, cool shit like this and not take it so serious at the same time.
Yeah.
You've always, I've always had you, and you've always been in my good graces for that, because there's not a lot of people that do what you do, especially here, and I think everybody who follows you can agree. You've definitely put me on to DJs and artists on your account. So, giving you your flowers, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. I was watching our interview this morning while I was doing dishes, because I was like, I gotta reintroduce myself, and in the same way I was looking at it, I was like, man, my background was crazy and my hair was looking insane, and you feel me? There was so much going on with the visual, but I think it was reflective of the time. I think we were both very early in trying to figure out what we were trying to do, and I when you hit me up, I was super grateful that both of us were still going at a pace, that we were still continuing to move with the intention, because we just love it. Everybody here, I could tell, the way y'all talk about music, it's not yeah, I'm doing this because I need to do it. It's you can't breathe without it, so as long as I can keep interacting with people, this doesn't even feel like work at all. So again, appreciate y'all and would love to chop it up in person and sit down, because I'm trying to be outside now. That's the new effort. I'm trying to get outside. So if you see me, just grab me. We could chop it up for a second. And then AJ, I'm gonna need to see you. I'm gonna get everybody together. We gonna get the 1-on-1 in person. Just for status, we got to figure out. As I'm growing out my beard, I'm gonna try to join. And then we're gonna figure out who's who. So
you're already in, man. You already know that.
Okay, see? All right. So AJ, we good. We clear the smoke. We don't have no beef. We're fine. Everything is okay. But yes, everybody who's watching, thank you. Whether it's day, night, evening, no matter what time it is, stop procrastinating. Go get after your dreams, because they are waiting for you. Peace, peace, peace.